Welcome everyone to the Transplants. I am Matt, your host.
I'm Ralph,
your other host.
And
we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian Episode 2, Season 1.
2.
Yeah, we're going to be reviewing it.
Chapters.
This will be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen it, probably not watching this anyway.
Yeah, stop, watch it, come back.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
Are we going to start general and then we'll dial down?
Yeah.
Did you like this episode,
All right.
Matthew?
I feel like this episode was a better pilot than the pilot.
Okay.
It kind of in a weird way also felt like it was a part of the pilot.
Like it should have just been a longer pilot with this at the end.
Yeah. However,
I agree with that.
The thing that I loved about this episode the most was its streamlined storytelling and editing. It felt like the episode just went down a track and it didn't like hit any walls or, bounce off of anything or skip to something like the other episode did. The other episode felt to me like it was very jump cutty. This one felt like it was cohesive, smooth, and a lot of it, I don't know if it was a direction thing. I know that, who was it that directed this? He's done, he was gonna do the Flash movie.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't remember what else he's done, but it felt much tighter than the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it had to do with, I think his name is Dave Filoni, the director of the first episode. But I loved that we had Jawas.
Yep, that was cool.
When it happened, I think overall this episode felt more Star Wars to me. Like the music was still bad, but it didn't slap me in the face.
Okay.
There were some scenes where it felt like sort of an homage to a Western where they're like, they're riding the carriages or they're carrying a load and at night through the desert sort of thing, with Baby Yoda. That kind of stuff was cool, but overall it felt more like a Star Wars film. Mm-hmm. Even though in the other episode we had the cantinas, we had the towns, we had a lot more aliens, had like ship play and stuff like that. But this one just felt, I don't know, was it because, does it feel like Tatooine?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and I think that was on purpose. Mm-hmm. It might have been Tatooine. I don't know. I guess we've seen Jawas on different planets, but I don't think they're that big of a space-traveling species.
They have like a sand crawler.
And those are like steam-powered.
Yeah.
According to some of the like lore and trivia. Like if you play Star Wars Trivial Pursuit, there's a question, what's the only steam power?
Evidently.
I do okay. But that was one of the questions, like it being steam powered. So I don't know if that's still canon or not, but so it makes me think that was Tatooine.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that Jawas are as all over the place, especially in big clans like that.
Right. And I liked that they were sort of a big part of the story. Mm-hmm. Like he gets, you see a little bit more of the Mandalorian's kind of bartering side, or like maybe even his binary thinking when it comes to the fact that his ship wasn't destroyed, it was stolen, or stolen for parts. The Jawas like scavenge, and to him it was like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I liked all that. I think overall, I just liked this episode better.
Interesting.
A lot better. Yeah. You didn't.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. I was expecting that.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. It's too short. It should have just been part of the last episode.
Yeah, it was short. It was very short.
So this felt lazy.
I think they're all going to be that short. I do.
So the pilot's going to be the longest one?
Yeah.
Like the pilot was an extra 10 minutes?
And then I think the finale will probably be longer.
So my main issues overall are kind of continuity with the character. We get the intro, we get the first scene. Bunch of mercenaries, bunch of bad dudes, no problem. Boom, bang, boom, taking care of people, whatever. Goes this other guy, your contact tells me you're the best bounty hunter in the parsec and that you're very expensive. We see him just shrugging things off, taking care of business, no problem. Then we had the end of the episode where we talked about how he gets, surprised by the frog guys. I forget what they're called. That he has to learn to ride, and that seemed a little cheap.
Blurks or something?
Yeah,
Blurgs.
And then in this episode, that kind of continues where one of the first action scenes, he's walking through the valley. We got the little lizards that are walking around and kind of following the Yoda thing. So, spoilers, as we've said. Obviously, you were right. He is force sensitive. But it is just a hover carriage because he linked it to his control thing at one point. But so they're walking through, and then everything gets quiet, and he's like, "Oh no, something's about to happen." And we know that he's they made his quick draw thing in that first episode very apparent. He's a bounty hunter. That's his blaster. He's quick with it, and he knows something's about to happen, and gets his hand on his blaster to get ready for something to happen. And then that Trandoshan still surprises him. The choreography for that was trash. It looked like there were just mistakes with it, where they kind of got tangled at one point, right before they cut. And I was just like, it's a 30-minute, it looked like this episode took 20 minutes to film a 30-minute episode somehow. And you still, you couldn't go back and run through that choreography one more time. It just seemed lazy. And then you've got a montage, a fix your ship montage, in the middle of this already short episode that was just filler. And it just seemed lazy. The whole thing just seemed lazy. Don't think it was filler.
To me. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that this show, I don't think will be exploring the Mandalorian and the Mandalorian lore. I think, at least for this season, it'll be all about
Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because then maybe they should have called the show The Baby Yoda. Because I'm already mad it's not Boba Fett.
Yeah.
The first episode got me excited, and now to learn about the Mandalorian and the Mandalorian clan and all that, and now I'm less excited because it felt like a step back. It felt like what they set up was bounty hunters, bounty hunter guild, the Mandalorian clan. Now it looks like it's going to be all about Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Going back to my other point, just to finish, the kind of change in tone and, his skill set, and, is he this badass bounty hunter that we were led to believe? Because then, the Jawas, he gets up there and he just gets punked by those Jawas when he gets to the top of the sandcrawler.
Jawas there.
And then the rhino thing in the cave, we hear blasters, the eye opens, he's got his gun in his hand, we hear blaster shots go off. And then he gets tossed out of there. So what I'm thinking is, this thing's got a really tough hide, the blaster didn't do anything to it, but then he just kills it with a knife. Yeah, which didn't go that deep in,
And if he knew exactly where to hit him with a knife,
why didn't he do it with the blaster? And you don't have infrared or night vision in this really advanced helmet you have? You have a $5 Walmart headlamp?
Yeah. I thought about that too. That was kind of bad. But I wouldn't attribute that to being a bad episode. I'll let you finish, but keep...
All right.
I still have more thoughts about it.
Kind of just the other thing in terms of it seems jumpy, it doesn't seem like the character that they have set was, he just seemed a little bumbling, oh darn, bad luck again. You don't have security measures on your ship that you keep your bounties in and park unattended with, because in the first episode, he just parked in the middle of the ice somewhere, and he had a bunch of bounties on there already, which are worth a ton of money. You don't have security or countermeasures on your ship for frickin' Jawas? Yeah. And then... So Yoda's Baby Yoda is just another species. like everything we know about midichlorians, stuff like that, like some races might be more force sensitive than others, but it's not like just because you're a Yoda means you're a super powerful Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a baby that can't talk yet, but you pick up a rhino the size of a speeder, that makes zero sense given what we know of the Force. There's always training involved. You always have to focus. Like I don't like.
Well, the thing
I don't know
about the
what's going
Yoda
on.
species is, it's 50 years old. The creature, like, yeah, it's still a baby in that species, and it can't talk allegedly. Let's,
He
not
could
jump the-
walk and recognize
He
that
can
the guy
walk.
was wounded. Obviously, he was going to heal
Trying to
him
heal
in that
him.
initial scene.
Perhaps he's less of a baby than we're led to believe.
All right.
And I think that's going to be part of the mystery in this episode,
All
or
right.
in this season. Now, I don't think it's going to all be Baby Yoda. I think it'll be Baby Yoda as plot point A, and then storyline B will be the Mandalorian.
I agree with that. And when he asked, I forget the dude's name, I Have Spoken, who's like my favorite character so far,
Yeah,
because
he's
he's the
amazing.
only, well, we haven't gotten a lot so far.
Yeah.
When he asked him to be a part of his crew, it makes me think that there will be, his crew will expand.
Yes.
We've seen in the trailers other characters coming in,
Yeah.
so I think it's going to get bigger. I'm still invested. I'm still going to watch it, but this, like, you made me wait for that? Like, what?
Yeah. Well, it didn't make you wait that long. It was 2
But
days.
it was a half hour. It was a half hour. There was a garbage fight scene with 2 Trandoshans where he looked like a punk. Then the Jaw was punked him. Then he had to go get an egg and got his butt kicked again. Like, every time he's tried to get his flamethrower up, it's just... I'm just a little...
Is it
I don't
possible
know.
that he's not the Mandalorian that we expect him to be, and that's why they're doing the series about him, is because he's not peak level Mandalorian bounty hunter, and we're gonna see that growth to that.
But so obviously he's got a lot of armor to upgrade. He only has the one Beskar pauldron. So obviously he is on a journey, but he already, we see him in the beginning with a ship full of bounties that he got easily.
Maybe it took a while.
I don't know, but then when he's talking to, he's talking to Lando, right?
No.
Was that Billy D. Williams? It wasn't Billy D. Williams. Was it?
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers. Oh, Carl Weathers.
Yeah. Grief Karga.
Who I've always confused with Billy D.
Yeah.
Williams. Because they do look
They
alike.
do look very similar.
But, yeah, so, I don't know. I was bummed.
So I get it.
The whole episode seemed like a complete waste of time.
I get it. I will say I get it. I think the show has a tall order in front of itself for setting it up the way that it did. To me, this episode was a lot better than the first one, storytelling wise, fluidity wise, editing wise.
How do you mess up? Walk back to your ship, find it's been stolen, do the quest to get your parts back, leave the planet.
It's a mark of a good storyteller to make something that simple and that
Linear?
linear and theoretically boring kind of story and make it go as fast as it did.
It was a 30-minute episode, and there was no dialogue until 10 and a half minutes. I went back and marked it, which I don't mind.
I loved that.
I liked that.
I loved that a lot. I wish we got that in the first episode.
I do wish we got more of that, but make up for it.
No, I get it, but what I'm saying is the fact that it was only 30 minutes long, or the fact that it was 30 minutes long, and it felt like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It felt faster than the first episode.
Yes.
That is the mark of a good editor and a good storyteller. So I think just fundamentally this episode was constructed better. Obviously, there was more interest in the first one. There were, more shooting. There's more dialogue. There was more locations. But
all the things I want.
But for me, it was all disconnected, and it made me confused. And I wasn't getting into it. I couldn't connect myself with it because it's a new series. It's a totally new story.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hook me with good storytelling.
I was confused too because I was like, wait, is it like when he went to the Mandalorian? I was like, is he on the same planet? Did we switch planets?
Right.
It was a little harder to follow, but
I've seen short films that were better than that pilot.
Did this episode not feel like a fan film? Bad fight choreography, really quick.
It didn't. I don't think. I did think that the fighting in the intro was pretty bad. The choreography was pretty bad, but overall, it felt like a paced kind of, not Western, but sort of like homage to a Western. It felt right for what I was watching. Very contained, small story. There was a lot of levity to kind of lift it up.
I definitely agree with all your points. It's Star Wars. We expect more than just you made a good story.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you.
And
the music isn't helping me.
Yeah.
The music and the transitions, I feel like I'm watching Rebels.
Yeah.
Even Rebels has better music.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. And this is a Star Wars TV show. Think about Westworld. Think about Breaking Bad. Think about Game of Thrones, Walking Dead. The music in those shows are cinematic. Mm-hmm. They're so smooth and so catchy and so brilliantly composed. You're Disney. You're Star Wars Disney. Find a good composer. They're out there cheap.
Does The Mandalorian so far make you nervous for Loki, Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision?
Mm-hmm.
Same.
It is, but I believe because Kevin Feige is spearheading that, then I think it'll be a little different.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I don't
His
think
influence is going to help.
Yeah,
I think
Star Wars in the recent years has just, they haven't had a pure Star Warsian set in stone concrete
someone at the helm.
Yeah,
that's why Marvel's been so good because Kevin Feige is at the helm. He's overseeing everything. He's like that rock that just can harness all these different creative guys where you have James Gunn with Guardians and other directors and stuff with the other movies, but still keep it all cohesive.
House. It's like they're all with one brain.
Right.
But
Star Wars, we had George, which God bless him, we love you. You made this world for us. But then you did the prequels, and then you went a little crazy, and then But continuity has kind of always been an issue for Star Wars.
Yes, and I think, 100%. George Lucas should be the Kevin Feige of Star Wars.
No, he shouldn't.
Yeah, you should.
No.
And I'll explain the reason why. It's because, the biggest problem with the prequels was the direction. The guy behind, he also wrote it. Yeah.
Okay.
But if you put a good director, a good filmmaker behind the movie, it's going to be great. He should have produced it. If you put him producing the Star Wars franchise, him as a Kevin Feige, he's not calling the shots, he's not dictating the stories, but he is keeping you in the lane. Then I think you're going to have a more cohesive and good story.
Maybe.
Change my mind.
I think he lost his vision. I think he got concerned with making toys and keeping kids happy, and that changed the way that he originally created the universe. Because the original trilogy, up until we got the Ewoks, was a very grown-up story and everything. And then we've got Gungans and Padres. Like, we had Ewoks, which that was fine. But then we have Gungans and Ewoks, or we have Gungans, and then the Padres scene was just way too long, and like the two-headed announcer guy, and it just kind of went off the rails a bit, you know? And like, I think he just kind of...
Yeah, but
I don't know, man.
People change, like they go through seasons. As a filmmaker, you're going to go through seasons, and your interest is going to change.
Sure.
He's older now. He's going to have different, a different perspective and a different take and a different desire. He might not feel the same way that he did making the prequels.
I guess.
I'm just saying, you need someone. It doesn't need to be George Lucas, but you need someone.
You need someone that just...
A Jon Favreau.
I mean, isn't he the producer on all these?
He's showrunner, yeah.
So far, meh.
Yeah.
This isn't the best first impression. Like, the first one was, like, had its issues, but still felt cool, made me hopeful. The second one felt like they just cut the last 30 minutes off the episode and made me wait 2 days for it. The choreography, man. The fight choreography.
I think it's going to be...
This is Disney Plus. Like, the choreography on Daredevil for Netflix was insane. And I know that's a high bar, but, like... But that fight scene with those two Trandoshans was botched. It was botched choreography that they just tried to cut out of. Yeah, and I mean, even for everything you want to say about the prequels... The choreography with Maul and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan was sick.
Amazing, yeah.
So, like even the prequels had, like, its redeeming qualities. Yeah. I talk all the time. There's a fan edit that takes out the Gungan city and cuts the pod race in half and makes Episode 1 a much better movie. So maybe that's to your point that, like, a little more direction editing, would have made them better. Obviously, there's issues with Anakin in the last two, but... so that kind of supports
when someone's
your point,
behind a camera, you tend to, like, in your let's say it's not your first time behind it, and you have all these big dreams and big expectations, you're gonna kind of go overboard.
And it makes sense because he has this giant universe he created in his head, and he wants to show you as much of it as possible. So yeah,
but to your point, Star Wars is a high bar. Star Wars, like Netflix, Daredevil should be down here, whereas Star Wars, The Mandalorian should be up here.
Star Wars.
It really, like, there's no reason. Especially in this day and age when you have something like Westworld Season 1 that was amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing. Like that, the fact that we were able to get that with the sound design... The score, the cinematography,
acting.
Yeah, the acting, the performances, everything was so tight and so good and so like evoking of so many things. And you can't get that with The Mandalorian. Like, The Mandalorian has so much mystique, so much, there's so much to pull from and also keep at bay that I feel like, to me, I know that this doesn't make sense for you, but I think this episode was more in line of a Mandalorian story kind of idea than the first episode.
I do agree with
that.
that.
Add more bounty fighting kind of stuff in the second episode, you have a perfect episode. But tight editing, tight storytelling, very grounded and very, like, micro, like the second episode, should have been episode 1. Especially for a premiere.
And Baby Yoda almost makes me nervous because I got excited for a kind of episodic, like, maybe there's an overall story arc, but it's like, what's the bounty this episode that he has to do while there's an arc going? But you'd need an hour-long episode for that.
Yeah.
And these are...
quick.
They're real quick.
I will say, when I heard, the conversation being told about this bounty being so desirable for the scientist and politician, or and then we see it being a baby Yoda. First of all, I wasn't surprised. I don't know why I wasn't surprised, but it didn't really surprise me, and also it didn't hit like it I think they wanted it to.
Yeah, like if it's like pre-Empire, why does this old Imperial guy care if it feels like there's some I don't want the Jedi to return.
It kind of, I think,
but Luke's still
sort
around.
of right. Yes, it kind of writes itself. Okay, you have a baby Yoda. Well, obviously they want it because it's Force sensitive, and they're aware of Yoda and the implications of perhaps the offspring of Yoda. Let's go there, because that might be where they're going. And then now you have the Mandalorian, who's going to be so attached to the baby Yoda. He's going to have this sort of like this stepdad sort of reluctant love for it.
And I will say they have done a good job of
displaying
making me like the character, despite the fact that he doesn't talk much and is always wearing a helmet.
Yep.
And I hope the helmet doesn't come off until much later.
Same.
Because you're doing a good job of making me like him despite his quiet and helmet. So that's good.
Yeah.
For me to
and I think they're gonna go that direction, probably around like mid-season.
Save it till the end.
They're gonna give it to. He's gonna give Yoda to his
clan,
his client, and he's gonna know. It's either gonna be he's gonna give Yoda to his client, and then he's gonna have to take Yoda back in some way, or he's gonna try to hide Baby Yoda, and there's gonna be a battle, a war that comes at him for that.
My guess is he goes to hand it off. In the conversation of the handoff, he learns what their plans are, and then like blasts his way out with the baby, and then goes into hiding.
And then the war comes to him. Obvious. Or he finds out through word of mouth, through his bounty channels, that this is what they want it for, and then he goes, he takes off stage left, and they go after him.
Because we have found, so those Trandoshans were bounty hunters because they did have the tracker. Which I don't know how you have a tracker that tracks a person.
I think the implication is that there is a track that they're tracking. Whether it be Yoda,
or him. Maybe they were tracking his tracker that he was given.
Because
No, but he did it. He was able to find Yoda with that thing.
Mm-hmm. I think they probably were trying to get Yoda.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because he ran to kill it. He almost like suicide.
And where was the tracker on Yoda?
After he disintegrated. So it was the same thing that the guy had in his hand when he was scanning the room after he killed. When he was with the IG droid. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's in his crib thing,
and he doesn't know where it is.
I guess, but I mean, he used it, and he knows there's other bounty hunters after it, so he should.
Yeah.
I'm still in.
I am too.
I'm still in. That was just a 30 minutes that felt like, all right, I guess, okay.
Yeah, this review is longer than the TV show.
It is, which means we should probably wrap it up.
But yeah, I am excited for what's coming.
I am too.
I'm not getting my hopes crushed just yet, but I'm
bummed, but still hopeful.
I will say it doesn't feel like there's a tight ship in this production right now. It doesn't feel like director number 1 knew anything about director number 2's job.
And this is Disney that's been helming Marvel movies.
I will say.
So get it together, Disney.
I will say the scene where they cut open the egg and they grab the yolk.
Yeah.
All I could think of is did they break a whole bunch of eggs? Like, did someone meticulously crack eggs and just take the yolk and put it in a bowl from like 5 dozen eggs and put it into this big bowl and then mix it together?
That's probably just some goopy
stuff. Just whipped egg yolk, and there's these actors that are like with fuzzy hands and fuzzy arms and clothes dipping their hands in it and getting it everywhere. It grossed me out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
It was funny, though.
Well, and you know what, though? Everyone stayed behind because they knew it was too dangerous to go get the egg, but he took the baby?
Well, the baby, he didn't take the baby. The baby came with him.
No, he's controlling that carriage thing.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
But he left the baby behind to go jump on the sandcrawler and get shock punked by the Jawas. But then he takes the baby to fight the egg monster rhino.
But the baby also drove back to him when he fell on the ground.
I think it's just going back to his thing. Because he activated it and then like pushed it out of the way when the rhino was charging at it.
Right.
So he's controlling that thing. Like that's just a hover system like anything else.
Yeah.
Continuity. I just want some consistency. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
We're still in. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's my favorite.
So we got this, and then we have ObiWan, right? That's coming.
I think so. I haven't looked at that since the Mandalorian started.
I mean, it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
I thought it was going to be a movie, but then they said it's probably going to be a show.
Oh.
Right?
I heard that it was going to be a show, like a mini-series.
They still owe us another in-between movie.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. There were rumors
if this doesn't
early
go
on.
Well, I don't know how excited I'm going to be about Obi-Wan.
There were rumors early on that when they said, okay, we're doing the third set trilogy, but then in between we're going to get, they told us we were, Rogue One, and then we got Solo. And there was rumors that one of those movies was going to be a Boba Fett movie. And then they're like, no, we're going to do a show. No, it's not Boba Fett. And now I'm watching this, and I'm stressed out, but it's going to be fine. It's gonna be fine. A little bit boring.
If this isn't Boba Fett,
okay.
and the TV show sucks,
it's not Boba Fett. We know it's not Boba Fett.
Gonna be okay.
We know it's not Boba Fett.
I'm just saying.
Maybe it's Yoda's baby. It's not Boba Fett. It's probably not Yoda's baby. That doesn't make any sense either.
I know they're gonna have to do a lot. They're gonna have to do a lot of explaining to do, because it is. I promise you, it is. I'm calling it right here, right now. Well, I called it on the first episode, but... Maybe he didn't even have the baby through sex. Maybe it's reincarnation. No, because that wouldn't make sense, because then he would be reincarnated into his own species. What if...
That is Yoda's species.
No, I know.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it wouldn't be into it?
Yeah,
maybe like Jedi Buddhism is different than our Buddhism. Like it's the Force isn't real, man.
A religion.
Maybe. Yeah, I know we're getting a lot more characters, like a rogues gallery. We know Gina Carano's character is going to pop up. We know Bill Burr's character is going to pop up. So
he talks about religion in this, how his weapons are his religion, right? And then he's questioning why, like, what's going on with the baby. He's wondering about the Force, like, what happened? Oh, I don't know what happened. I don't know what that is. It's the Force, you idiot! This is Star Wars!
When, in his defense of that, in the original trilogy, the, even, like, the high-ranking commanders on the first Death Star, that, like, said to Vader, you're all that's left of their religion. So it's very possible in the original trilogy that they didn't know the Emperor was a dark side.
The religion, though, but not the Force. The Force is always there.
If you're a Jedi, it's a thing.
Right.
So I'm
not saying that this is the Jedi, and I'm not saying that he needs to believe that it's... But if you experience the Force, if you notice something that's... Like, if I saw someone who was... If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, quacks like a duck...
But the general population doesn't know that, like... Vader and the Emperor were Sith, like, because the Jedi Order 66 had happened a long time ago. Luke just defeated Vader and the Emperor. Like, no one outside the Rebel army knew that Luke was a Jedi or anything like that, Like, Leia didn't even know until Return of the Jedi, like, kind of that she was part of that. So, it's very possible that people in this era are maybe only barely familiar with Jedi as old stories. If at all.
But the Force.
Yeah, same thing.
And there is I I don't know. I feel like the precedent is set with Yoda being Force sensitive. Like, if you see another Yoda, like, if you hear about... You have to have heard about Yoda.
People have different... Like, humans have different metachlorian counts. Like, is all that stuff out the window now? Consistency. I just want a little consistency, Matt. Timestamp. I'm just... I think we've said all we can say. This is going on really long.
Well, it's getting into a lot of speculation at this point.
It is. So...
We'll find out.
We're still in.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned.
Yeah.
I'm concerned yet optimistic.
Right. Right. All right, guys. Let us know what you think down below. Be nice. Be kind. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Don't be nice. I'd like you to berate us and... Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you disagree. Show us your anger. Yes. Because, obviously, the more traffic, the better for us. So,
well, way to sound like a whore. I just find anger entertaining, and I really loved everyone dumping on Matt on our Witcher review. So
I kind of did too. All
right, but yeah, comment. Tell us if you're still in. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, guys. Until next time.